Welcome everybody to our episode number 53 of Around the World in 80 Tangos, and today we have a real smash hit, Buscándote. And if you're a DJ and you want to hear some and oh and ah, then play this as first in the tanda and you will get it for sure.
And you will get a crowded dance floor. This is a recording from 1941. Music and lyrics written by Osvaldo Fresedo, called Lalo Scalise.
The orchestra of Osvaldo Fresedo, and the singer is Fresedo-ray. He sang some weeks with Francisco Canaro and then he met Fresedo.
Yes, somehow he met Fresedo at the artist's entrance at the Cabaret Tabaris, where Fresedo was playing at this time. And he just talked to this guy and it came out, oh, this is the maestro himself. And he applied for the job as a singer, and then Osvaldo invited him to the house of his piano player. They made an audition and that was it. And he stayed 8 years.
That's a long time for this time, actually.
Indeed. To stay 8 years with one orchestra was something.
And he got a really nice nickname from Carlos Gardel.
Yes, after he left Fresedo, he formed his own orchestra with a piano player, José María Rizzuti, and he got the nickname Ternero, which means calf or veal. It's a friendly nickname. It's because of his tenor, his juvenile appearance, because he avoided always the arrabal, the man of the street attitude. So he wanted to sound clean and clear, very refined, and this made him so perfect fitting for the sound of Osvaldo Fresedo. He returned to Fresedo 2 times, and during his last stay in the orchestra, he died unexpectedly when he was 48.
That's quite young even for this time. In our episode number 14, we talked about Osvaldo Fresedo. The piece was Después de Carnaval. It's the same year.
Yeah, a different singer, Ricardo Ruiz. As a reminder about Fresedo, he made more than 1,200 recordings in 63 years of career. And he was famous for his symphonic sound and his unusual instruments like vibraphone, harp, drum set. And he had a special affinity to the so-called upper class, to the people who had more money. And this started already in 1917, when he had a trio with the pianist Juan Carlos Cobian and the violinist Tito Roca-Tagliata. And there it started with a sophisticated musical articulation to please the ears of people who have a cultural background. So he did a lot also to bring tango into the upper classes, the so-called.
And he also was part of this monster orchestras in Rosario with Francisco Canaro and Roberto Firpo. They had orchestras with more than 40 musicians for the carnival seasons.
Yes, these were the legendary big bands of 1917 and 18.
Wandering around, exhausted by my endless march, bitter sadness of loneliness, longing to arrive. You will know that I went through life looking for you, that I have left my dreams behind without wanting to, that I left them at the crossroads. My walk accelerated in the hope of finding you. I covered long distances, mile after mile. I have walked for you. After a rest in your arms, I move on, if you prefer, on my path as before. Scalise wrote these lyrics.
Scalise was the piano player in this time in the orchestra of Osvaldo Fresedo, and you can hear it in this arrangement. First it's his composition, and then the arrangement is really presenting the piano as the driving force, the instrument which holds everything together. Also, it combines vibraphone, harp, drum set. As we know, Osvaldo Fresedo used the drums to relax the piano player from his role as a timekeeper, so he could play more freely.
I listened to this song more than 1,000 times, and today is the first time that I realized there's a drum set in.
Lalo Scalise was a big shot. He was quite prominent. For example, he replaced Osvaldo Pugliese in 1928 in the orchestra of Pedro Mafia, played there 5 years. Then he stayed 4 years with Enrique Santos Discepolo as the arranger and piano player and musical advisor before he came to Osvaldo Fresedo. After his stay with Osvaldo Fresedo, he had his own orchestra, Tipica. Then in 1943 he returned to Pedro Mafia. In 1944 he had another own orchestra performing in Punta del Este, and returned in 1949 for some years to Osvaldo Fresedo. He later continued his career in Central America, and he became a very influential piano player for his embellishments and his octave playing, so his style was quite fashionable. So please remember Eduardo Lalo Scalise.
And with this advice, we say goodbye from our episode number 53 from Around the World in 80 Tangos. And today we had real smash hit Buscándote from the orchestra of Osvaldo Fresedo.
The singer is Roberto Ray. The composer and lyricist is Eduardo Lalo Scalise. A recording of 1941.
Thank you for traveling with us through tangos we love, and we hope you enjoyed. This was
Daniela and Raimund, Tango Mundo, Berlin.
Stay healthy and take care.
Bye bye.